Hey everyone, this is Nitro. So, the round of 16 was completed yesterday, and the battles mostly went as predicted. For example, Sweet Dango versus Igten. Most people favored Sweet Dango, and he won. ZHPH versus Zelda. Zelda was the favorite, and he won. Teargrants against Breeze was a much closer fight. People weren't really sure who would win in this battle, but Teargrants had more votes and came out on top. Royally against Sick My Duck. Royally was the overwhelming favorite and won. Sophia versus Dark Knight was another battle where people were not sure who would win, but Sophia won here. And the big surprise of the round of 16 was Manson against Cliff Elbrick, because Manson was really the favorite, but Manson actually lost. Lemons against SuWaN was a battle between two major whales. You know, they were basically heavyweights in the top 16. Lemons had the overwhelming amount of votes, and Lemons did win. And finally, the battle between Zanson and Silversled. Zanson was the favorite and won as expected. So I'm going to do, I guess, two videos. One will cover the Lemons versus SuWaN match, and I'll probably do one covering the Manson and Cliff Elbrick match. Alright, so for this video, I'm going to start with covering Lemons versus SuWaN, because there were a lot of intricacies to this battle. And these, to be fair, these intricacies come out because of whaling power. I'll go over this in detail in the match. So, first things first, the pick ban phase. Landius is SuWaN's Landius is banned, and he bans the enemy juggler. So, and SuWaN decides to play Leonhardt. So clearly he's going for an AoE attack team, right? Now, Lemons now bans the two best healers, or the two that are considered among the best, Liana and Iris. And then Lemons decides to play Landius. So, a lot of reasons why. Amongst the biggest reasons though, is first, Landius is a cavalry tank. So, being cavalry, he takes reduced damage from infantry class characters like Leonhardt. And clearly, it's already shown a difference. SuWaN is clearly going for an AoE attack team, while Lemons is going for a more traditional tank with healers team. Continuing on then, Lemons, Listel, and Rachel are banned. Right? Two AoE attackers who get buffed by Landius. And SuWaN plays Tiaris as his healer. SuWaN now loses Juggler and Chloe. So the second healer is gone, as well as his two primary tanks. And Lemons plays Bozel. Interesting choice here. But keep in mind, Lemons has one of the most powerful Bozels. I think his Bozel is definitely over 7,000 power, so it's incredibly well built. Lemons now loses, again, the two primary healers, Liana and Iris. And SuWaN plays Bernhardt now. So, two infantry class characters against Landius, which was a kind of interesting choice here. But clearly an AoE attack team is what SuWaN is aiming for. So now, SuWaN loses Bozel and Zerida, and Lemons plays Chloe, a healer, at this point. SuWaN now bans the enemy Leonhardt and Zerida. And he plays Varna. Lemons, well, bans Claret, as well as Rachel. And Lemons plays Tiaris. And finally, Lemons plays Elwyn and Bernhardt are banned. And SuWaN plays Listel. And then Lemons ends up with Varna. Interesting final choice here on Varna instead of Sakura. Can't say it's wrong, but I just wanted to say that it was an interesting choice. So let's jump in to the start of the battle now. So let's cover some of the intricacies of the setups of the players. So because of the Landius tank, clearly Bernhardt and Leonhardt ideally would bring Lancer class soldiers. So Bernhardt brought Stone Colossi, and Leonhardt did bring Royal Cavalry, because I don't think Leonhardt has... I'm not sure if Leonhardt even has infantry class... Sorry, Lancer class characters in truth. In any case though, Royal Cavalry can tank a lot of damage, so they're these really one of the better soldiers of choice, since they reduce physical damage taken. Bernhardt is as expected, the faction buff, Sword Dance, Rupture style. Leonhardt has instant transfer fusions, Dark Emperor Sword, and Inferior Fire Machete. Standard Leonhardt. Lestelle is built in the top tier level method, where she brings Blood Dance, Reaper's Touch, and Demon God's Bulwark. The reason for Demon God's Bulwark instead of Seal is because at the top level, most characters bring... For example, they bring a Bracer Emblem or Swordsmith Medal as their gear. So that item grants immunity to both fixed damage and silence, meaning Seal is not really worth it anymore. So instead, you're better off with bringing something like Demon God's Bulwark, because you can take magic damage for adjacent allies, and in addition, if you do damage to the enemy, you restore 30% of your max hit points. So it's a nice item to have over the Seal effect, in truth. Finally, Varna is pretty much standard, with 1000 arrows, aim, and mass attack. And Tieris, as an interesting note, has heal, mass heal, and attack blessing. So my thought is attack blessing is here because attack blessing can grant additional damage when he does a melee attack, especially let's say on Landius to take him down. As for why there's no miracle, it's because Varna most likely has King's Crown, and King's Crown provides plus 20% damage dealt, right? With that, you don't really need the miracle effect, especially when miracle has a 5-turn cooldown. Now, covering Lemon's side. Landius is standard, right? Varna is standard. I should also mention that mass attack also grants the effect that grants immunity to silencing. So another reason why you would not bring Seal on Lestelle. Bozel here is quite interesting. Keep in mind that Lemons has one of the most powerful Bozels. It's definitely over 7k power. I would say probably, I think 7700 power or so. It's ridiculously powerful. So that's why it has so much hit points, over 10k hit points. And this Bozel is bringing Black Hole, Fireball, and then Summon Undead. So no faction buff. The reason for that is because of Tieris. Tieris is bringing Mass Resist, and Mass Resist provides plus 30% magic defense increase. That is effectively a faction buff for Bozel, right? You get that 30% magic defense increase, that means Bozel's intelligence is also buffed, meaning the Black Hole and Fireball will hit that much harder. And the summon will allow for some turn manipulation. As for Chloe, Chloe has Aurora Ring, Heal, and Discipline. So, here we go. Let's just begin. So once again, I should mention Tieris. Here, she doesn't even bring Attack Blessing. Instead, she has Heal, Mass Heal over the choice of Attack Blessing, which is very interesting. It looks like Lemons is prioritizing the ability to remove debuffs, to dispel debuffs and heal up characters over the ability to do damage, which actually makes a lot of sense. Keep in mind Lemons is player 2. What that means is, as long as Lemon survives the full time, he's won. So keeping his characters alive, especially let's say Landius, is much more important for him than killing off the enemy characters in general. Alright, here we go. So the first turn is about moving forward. And you can see that SuWaN is just charging up. Bozel does a summon. Leonhardt gets teleported forward. Varna shifts forward and uses mass attack. And as expected, Varna has King's Crown, and the King's Crown that buffs Bernhardt here. Continuing on. So, interesting point here, and one of the reasons why Chloe is so good as well. Chloe has a King's Crown. Mages generally can't equip it, but Chloe is an exception because she can wear light armor. So with that, both Chloe and Varna should both have King's Crown on Lemon's team. So he has multiple chances to apply the King's Crown buff of 20% damage dealt increase on his party. Continuing on. So here, 1000 arrows is tossed out by Varna, right? Doing some AoE damage, and we just saw King's Crown get applied on Bozal, right? So with the damage dealt as well, you can see that one random buff is removed from every character that is hit by it. So for example, Bernhard, it looks like he lost part of the attack blessing buff, right? He takes reduced damage, but he no longer does the 30% increased damage from attack blessing. Varna seems to have lost part of the faction buff, magic defense increase here, and take a lot of damage, right? Hit points is quite low on Varna now. Listel, I don't even know what Listel lost. And Leonhardt seems to have lost. I'm not sure either on Leonhardt, because it looks like all the buffs are here, right? These four are the faction buff. Mobility increase and sword breath comes from the teleport. Immunity comes from the mass attack, and then AoE damage comes from Varna as well. In any case though, let's just continue. So, oh, sorry. Leonhardt didn't lose anything because he didn't even take any damage. So, quick pause here. Tieris casts magic mass resist, so we can see now Bozal has 1431 int. Incredibly high intelligence Bozal. So continuing on, Varna activates aim, applying the King's Crown effect on the stealth, tosses out 1000 arrows, and retreats to apply another King's Crown effect on Leonhardt. So now everyone here has that King's Crown effect. In my opinion, that was the wrong move. There was absolutely no reason to buff up Listel's damage, because her 4 mobility doesn't let her move into range to Blood Dance, right? Her Blood Dance would only hit Landius. So I felt that was a waste of the aim skill. Probably should have kept it and held it back so that she could refresh 1000 arrows faster. Tieris, after that turn, uses her mass seal to bring everyone back to full health. Characters did lose 1 buff to the 1000 arrows. So if we take a look, for example, Varna no longer has her increased attack effect from the mass attack. Right? Bozal. Wait, no. I don't think Varna even used mass attack yet. Anyways, Landius, it's kind of hard to see what buffs characters lost, but Chloe, for example, clearly lost the faction buff effect of 15% increased damage. Tieris clearly lost, I think, some intelligence, the intelligence attack and int increase. So you can see that characters all lost a few buffs. Continuing on then. Here, it's clearly revealed that this Leonhardt has Balanced Blade, because that was the only way that its AoE hit everything, right? Varna, Tieris, and Chloe were actually 3 rings away, but the Dark Fusion Sword hit them. In addition, the instant transfer effect had the 2 AoE range, so that it hit both Bozal and Landius. So huge amount of damage dealt here, right? Bozal down to 39 hit points. Everything is nearly dead. So, and it shows why Varna, with the 20% AoE damage and the King's Crown effect, was so important. In addition, I'm not quite sure why, but Leonhardt's attack increased to 1385. It was around 1200 if we just go back a turn. See, 1198. Oh, I know why. because of the Asura Sword effect. Because there's no allies close within 1 block of him, so he gets 20% increase to all stats. So that's why 1385 attack. And then he moves even further up, Ethereal Fire Machete. Now, unfortunately, the second attack no longer had Varna's King's Crown or strong support effects. So, and in addition, Ethereal Fire Machete only does 0.25 times AoE damage, rather than 0.3 times. So, Bozo was able to survive for 485 hit points. It just shows how strong Lemon's Bozo is. I've honestly never seen anyone's Bozo survive a Leonhardt like this. Lemon's is the first. So it just shows how wailing power can lead to characters surviving AoE attacks. Continuing on. So, Chloe heals up Bozo. Now, Bernhardt then comes to follow up with his sword dance. In many ways, SuWaN made a huge mistake here. He should have sent Bernhardt in first with the sword dance, because the sword dance would have applied cannot be healed on both Bozo and Landius, right? And Varna. So that would have prevented healing from Chloe onto all three. So all three would have taken AoE damage, then the follow-up attack from Leonhardt could have crushed them all. So, massive mistake there. Massive. Because otherwise, if he had done it in that order, both Varna and Bozo were dead, instead of just Varna while Bozo lives. So, continuing on. Bozo tosses out a fireball, weakening Leonhardt. Landius now activates his guard skill. And Tierras casts his mass heal here to heal up those two. Now, that was, in very many ways, in my opinion, a very questionable move, because Varna was not healed, right? Tierras, in my opinion, should have focused on healing Listel and Varna, and not Bernhardt. But, continuing on then. Listel moves in and uses Blood Dance. Now, this was a luck element which really helped Lemons as well. Because Lemons, his Tierras had immunity to fixed damage due to Chloe. Chloe's talent can apply one random immunity effect for 2 rounds on other characters. And Lemons was lucky enough to get immunity to fixed damage on this Tierras, which kept her alive. Right. Landius took damage because he doesn't have the immunity. Bozo clearly has Bracer Emblem, so he was immune to fixed damage in the first place. So he didn't take any fixed damage. And Chloe clearly also had a Bracer Emblem, so Chloe was also immune to fixed damage, which meant nobody died here to Listel. Although they all got the effect of cannot be healed and takes damage from healing. So here, in response, Aurora Ring is used to remove that, to remove those debuffs and so on. Leonhardt rushes in, goes for the first attack on Landius. Landius ends his turn, instantly becomes at full hit points. Because of the 50% health restoration, which is ridiculous. So, Mass Attack is used here to buff up the characters, granting them immunity to silence and so on from Varna. And that weirded me out a little. Lemons decided to suicide that summon. I guess he felt at this point he no longer needed to do any kind of turn manipulation because they were engaged in combat. I can't say he's wrong, but I personally would have just kept it alive because you never know, you might need to do turn manipulation sometimes. But that was his choice. So, continuing on. Lemons heals up Bozo, and tosses out the black hole. Keep in mind this Bozo had the mass resist effect with 1485 intelligence or so. So that black hole was able to kill off Varna and heavily damage SuWaN's whole party. Now, at this point, Listel applies Reaper's Touch on Chloe, so that, and Chloe, in response, uses her Discipline Strike, which hits Listel. She stays in poison and kills herself. It's a very important point here, because by doing so, this, at the end of turn, restores 50% of unit hit points effect, will no longer do damage to any of these characters. So, on purpose, Lemons killed off his own Chloe. Mass Seal is used. And Tieris uses Mass Resist. Leonhardt teleports on the spot. And Bozo does a range attack, which hits Listel and kills her. It's an interesting point because now it is 3v4. Sorry, no, it's not 3v4. It is 3v3, right? With Listel dead, the battle has gone down to a 3v3 scenario. So Leonhardt here unbelievably tanks the hits from Lemon's Landius. It has to be linked to enchants once again. Repeatedly we're seeing characters survive in situations where for normal players they would definitely die, right? The Bozo, the Leonhardt hit just now. Continuing on. Sword Dance is used once again. And Leonhardt is killed by Bozo. Attack Blessing. So, SuWaN is trying to lock down Lemons in poison. And Landius faction buffs. Now, amazingly, Tieris was actually able to run all the way up here. Let me just go back a step here. The reason this worked, and it's a feature that's only available in Season 1, is that Poison Fog is actually considered land terrain. So, Tieris was able to run up into the north here, because this is considered land instead of a sky terrain that Tieris can't move through. So, this move allowed Tieris to survive instead of being killed in poison. This is a mechanic that's only available in Season 1. And now, now SuWaN is at a huge disadvantage at this point. And similarly, Landius is also able to run through the sky terrain, which is actually just Poison Fog, and get to safety as well. And then Bernhard gets chopped up really hard by Bozo. And at this point, the battle is over. So clearly, in very many ways, this battle was in large part determined by elements of luck. Tieris getting that immunity to fixed damage buff from Chloe kept her alive, which definitely kept Lemons in the fight. But also, SuWaN made a massive mistake in not starting off with Sword Dance before using Leonhardt. If he used Sword Dance followed up by Leonhardt, the battle would have been completely different. Bozo would have 100% been dead, right? along with Varna, and then he would have won this first match. One tiny mistake, and that costs SuWaN the whole match. And then, of course, in very many ways, he did get outwitted by Lemons when Lemons moved his characters through the poison and into the northern safety zone. So the combination of, I guess, map familiarity as well as a massive mistake on SuWaN's part cost him this first match. So the battle will just play itself out at this point, but there is almost no chance of victory for SuWaN at this point. So yeah, Bozo finishes it off. And there's that win. So we move on to the second battle. And here, once again, Landius ban on Lemon's part, followed by a Landius ban. And SuWaN plays Listel. Juggler and Bozo are banned. And Lemons plays Leonhardt. So a change in strategy on for both sides. Lemon bans Bernhard and Varna. Let me take that back, sorry. SuWaN bans Lemons, Bernhard and Varna. So really a huge strategy change. And SuWaN plays Zerida now. Liana and Tiaris are banned, interestingly enough. I guess it's because since SuWaN has not played any Empire faction buffers or anything like that, right? He chose to ban Tiaris for the attack blessing, so that Zerida probably can't one-shot things, and Liana because Act Again is just too important. And Lemon plays Liana. Bozo Zerida ban. And Iris is played. Chloe, Claret ban. And Juggler is played on Lemon's side. Lemon loses Rachel and Listel. Varna is played on SuWaN's side. So yeah, Bernhard, Rachel are banned. And Lemon plays Sakura now. And finally, Lemon loses Elwyn and Iris. And SuWaN gets to play Leonhardt once more. But this time, there is no faction buff. Although there is still mass attack, there is a teleporter. So it's a little bit different, right? Lemons continues to play a tank and 2 healers. And 2 damage dealers though. So there we go. Lemon's basic party has not changed. SuWaN's party has changed in that there's AoE attack. There's now Zerida, so it's not as much of an AoE attack team anymore. Interestingly enough, this is a Bloodthirster Zerida. Faction buff from Juggler to start. Leonhardt teleported forward. Mass attack used to buff up Zerida's damage. So 1226 attack value. But this Leonhardt has 9,291 hit points. And with Act Again, this Leonhardt gets to act twice. Now, I'm not quite sure why that teleport was done. Oh, I see why. Because he had to assume this Leonhardt has Balanced Blade, right? Being here is still within the 3-ring radius of Fusion Dark Emperor Sword. So whether he was here or in front didn't really matter. Miracle. So, maximum damage applied onto Leonhardt now. And Dark Emperor Sword is used. Oh, and it actually doesn't have Interestingly enough, it actually did not have the balanced blade, but it has Bloodsword Hunting for extra fixed damage hits. So, in addition, this Leonhardt clearly has 4 base movement, meaning it has Apex Boots. Right? So that is the choice. You know, if you have Balanced Blade, then you can work with 3 mobility. If you don't have Balanced Blade, you probably want Apex Boots like this, so that he has 4 mobility to have the same attack range, basically, on Leonhardt. So after that first strike, he chooses to use Air Slash on Leonhardt, but hilariously enough, that was a massive mistake because the Royal Cavalry did not drop below 80% hit points. So the Air Slash did basically nothing, right? The 45% damage reduction made the Royal Cavalry just tank the hit and laugh at it. And that's clearly a mistake that comes from, I guess, not facing whales all the time, right? For most players, that first AoE would have knocked the Royal Cavalry below 80% hit points, even though it was a AoE attack from an infantry class. But not in the case where, I guess, the Royal Cavalry seem to be maxed out, level 10, and the training bonds, the core stat bonds, should probably be maxed out again as well. Continuing on, so Leonhardt was killed for nobody dying. So should be a major advantage for SuWaN here. Interesting note, not quite what I expected. Liana has Gospel instead of a summon skill. My thought would have been you probably used that Gospel on Sakura, right? But it was used on Juggler instead. Not quite sure why. The other thing is, one of these characters, probably Liana, has Tree of Life enchant. So that's why this Liana, I guess, has such ridiculously high hit points. Or it might be Tiaris. In any case, continuing on. Advancing, and SuWaN choose to retreat. To make full use of the Bloodthirsty Zerda, clearly. Aim is used. Clearly to refresh Varna's 1,000 arrows. Or mass attack, as the case may be. I see. Okay, so in this situation, SuWaN is focusing on maxing out Zerda's attack consistently. So his main goal, SuWaN's main goal, is to constantly be able to mass attack up Zerda for every strike. And chooses not to attack with Leonhardt because, well, there's no need, right? Especially when Juggler is in front. Attacking Juggler with AoE, he would just restore the hit point, the damage dealt. So Zerda rushes forward, one shots. Another character. So yeah, this should actually be SuWaN's win. And it's unfortunate, but if SuWaN had done the proper attack order on the first match, he would have won this and advanced. In any case though, battle continues. We'll just let it play out at this point. AoE attack, clearly trying to do some damage to Liana first, so that Liana can be hit by Zerda. But Juggler seems to just heal too much. Right? The Shrine Maidens are kept at full health. And actually, here... okay. Juggler has the Tree of Life enchant. Sorry, let me take that back. It should not be Leanna. It should be Juggler. Which makes a lot of sense, because Juggler needs defense and magic defense, which Tree of Life provides, right? And in addition, with the Tree of Life enchant, Juggler also gets 10% hit point increase, which is a nice bonus. So yeah, I'm guessing Leanna... I'm not sure what enchant Leanna has then. In any case though, continuing on. SuWaN now takes the offensive. And he actually tries to Bloodthirster Leanna here. I mean, it makes sense, kinda, sorta. But as expected, Leanna doesn't die to that. Due to the Shrine Maiden's 75% damage reduction. Interesting here was that Juggler's Beast Shock was not able to one-shot this Varna at all. In fact, the damage didn't even go through to Varna himself. Let me just go back a step quickly. And the reason why is because Juggler... the Triton effect was removed. Right? Triton is supposed to replace your physical attack value with 1.4 times defense. And I guess that was removed earlier by Leonhardt. By Leonhardt's Fusion Dark Emperor Sword. Right? Dispelling buffs. So that kept the Varna alive. Luck elements coming into play. Reaper's Touch is used on Juggler. And yes, this was another example of mistakes made by SuWaN. SuWaN should have used Reaper's Touch on Listel probably earlier, right? That would have done damage to Leanna. And then Leanna would probably have to heal. Then Leonhardt should attack Juggler to do damage to him, which would cause the Reaper's Touch to do damage to Leanna. And then Zerda can one-shot Leanna, right? So attack order, once again, SuWaN making some mistakes. But because he already has an advantage in characters, even though he made a mistake here, not a big deal. So, there you go. Concede. Lemon concedes. So, we can see, in truth, if SuWaN had played the first match correctly, he would have won. Just the wrong attack order with Bernhard and Leonhardt, that cost him the match completely. And now, the third match, we already know Lemon wins this third one, but let's take a look. So, SuWaN, Landis is banned, yet again. And she plays Juggler once more. Zerda and Listel are bland. And now SuWaN chooses to play Juggler because he's player 2. So finally playing a defensive team instead of an AoE attack team or offensive attack team. Zerda and Listeller Band. And Lemons plays Elwyn. Bozel and Bernhard. And SuWaN gets to play Bozel. Leanna and Chloe. Band. And Lemons plays Leanna. Sumere and Rachel. And then Tiaris is played by SuWaN. Iris and Bernhard. And Leonhardt is played by Lemons. Varna and Iris. And Leonhardt is played. So both sides, surprisingly, this is a... I'm honestly surprised SuWaN did not play a second healer here. Yeah, I think that was a critical error, which probably cost him in truth. Let me just go back a few steps here. Because he played Bozel, he had no opportunity to play a second healer. But he could have played Rachel here, even now, even at this point. But he chose to play Leonhardt, so, well, regardless. So SuWaN ends up going for a more offensive team anyways. And you can't say it's a bad choice because Lana does have the ability to one-shot, let's say, Elwyn. Oh, look at that. Leonhardt with Dark Centurions. So, don't see that very often. Alright, so SuWaN is playing a summon strategy, isn't he? However, he only brings one summon, not two. Interesting. I personally would have brought two summons, one on Bozel, one on Lena, but I'm not the player here. So instead of having a summon advantage, they both have one summon, which means no turn manipulation. Frankly speaking, if it was me, I would have brought Bozel with probably Faction Buff, Summon, and Fireball here. But in any case though, continuing on. So, at first glance though, overall, for this battle, I still would have favored SuWaN over Lemons, looking at this. I mean, with double summon for turn manipulation, I would say it would have 100% been SuWaN's victory. But I'm honestly not sure how he lost this, in truth. Because with Juggler, Leonhardt's AoE should not have killed anyone, but we'll see. Okay. Aha! This is where things became trouble. Aha! This is probably the turning point here. The act again from Lemons was in hopes of activating Breeze on Elwyn, and it happened. And also to, you know, and with that, he could now have Elwyn use Sword Soul on Juggler. Oh wait, no! He moved out of range. Ah! Elwyn wasn't even in range to attack in the first place. The 6 mobility wasn't enough. Interesting. Right? By moving out of the way, he was able to get out of range. And that was because Leanna used Act again. That's why. Oops, let me just go back there. So, let's continue. So both sides are initially hanging back. interesting thing here is Juggler, in order to consistently maintain his ability to be in water, decided to use Master of Ice even though there was no enemy in range. Can't really say that's a bad move because it does prevent Bozo from doing full damage if Bozo decides to attack. Which he goes for. And I wonder if that's why he lost. He went too aggressive here. By pushing in like that, Leonhardt was able to go for a kill. Interesting. Wind wall on Leonhardt. Yeah. And there goes Bozo. So, SuWaN totally lost patience there. Pushed in when he shouldn't have, and that totally caught in this third match. With both of his ranged attackers killed like that, it's over. Yeah, it's too bad. At this point, it's just mop up completely. I'm just surprised. I have to admit, I am truly surprised SuWaN did not play a summon strategy for this third fight. I really think if he had gone for double summon, he won this as well. So, but overall, simply put, SuWaN played it better. Sorry, Lemons played it better, flat out. SuWaN had definitely had opportunities to win this, but unfortunately, too many mistakes were made. And yeah, at this point, it's just watching the rest of this play out, which is nearly over. So there we go. So yeah, my overall view is SuWaN should have definitely won that first match. The second match would have then played out differently because he would probably go second instead of first for that second match, right? But the third match, I really feel like SuWaN threw it away by picking the wrong skills on Bozo and Lena. So, thanks for watching, everyone. I hope you found this breakdown of the Lemons and SuWaN match interesting. I'll also do a breakdown of the Manson and Cliff Elbrig match later on. So, on that note, Nitro out.